Welcome to NocBro Nation.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Jarrell.
And I am Josh, and straight from the news press release, we are here to give you Negan storyline for Season 9B and possibly into Season 10. So you obviously know from a video that you probably watched a day ago, or earlier today.
A couple days ago.
Yeah. That Walking Dead was renewed for Season 10. So let's talk about Negan.
Yeah, so spoiler alert to anybody who is not caught up on the comics. These are going to be just going over some of the stories that happened in the comics after All Out War, leading up to possibly the Whisperer War, and a little bit after that to where we think they could be used for Season 9B, even though it's a very... we know kind of where Season 9B is going to be heading. Where could they take Negan's story, and will they continue that possibly into Season 10?
Yeah, now some of this, obviously, again, spoilers. This is your last warning. If you have not caught up to the comics, please shut off here if you don't want to be spoiled. So some of this actually is ruined just because of the Carl not being in the comics anymore, and the way that they've changed things up on the storyline from the show to the comics, or vice versa.
You mean Carl not in the show anymore? Not
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And Rick not being in the show as well. So the one thing that is not the same is, of course, Negan's escape. Negan escapes in the comics by another individual, Brandon Rose, who is the son of Tammy Rose, who does not like Rick, and he wants to have Negan get out and go tell the Whisperers Rick's plan of them wanting to attack the Whisperers. And then he also wants him to bring Negan, Brandon wants to have Negan come back with him to kill Rick, Andrea, basically everybody.
It was actually a really cool storyline in the comics. Seeing this kid come down and let Negan out. We might as well go into it. He does bring Negan to the Whisperers, or at least shows him the way, but Negan actually kills him.
He does.
For betraying Rick, actually.
For betraying Rick, and also thinking that Negan wasn't in charge.
Yeah.
Like, Negan's like, yeah, this is the plan. This is my plan. And he unfortunately he does kill Brandon, but it's Negan. He still has... It wasn't until...
death, too, because he just leaves him laying in a field.
Yeah, he does. It wasn't... Negan didn't really make the decision yet whether he was going to go back to Alexandria and help Rick. He was still kind of 50-50, but...
You think?
I think it was a little bit. Unless he was putting on a ruse. A little bit.
I think it would be even more badass, and this is talking a little bit more about the comics, of him knowing all along that he was going to do that.
After getting out of the cell?
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, to me, I always saw Negan post-cell as someone that needed... not just wanted, but needed to prove to Rick that he was this changed person.
Right. It's possible. He could have known the whole time, but I don't really know.
But again, that goes on to our next storyline.
Right.
The need to prove to Rick that he's a good guy and that he's on Rick's side goes into our next part of the story. And that is, and again, spoiler alerts. Now, we don't know if this is going to happen in the show because they have mixed things up, but Nick. Wow. I'm getting Negan and Rick.
Negan and Rick, yeah.
No. Negan makes it to the Whisperer camp and kind of portrays himself to Alpha as an ally. And kind of really lies to her.
He lies. He kind of lies because he kind of says that he was with a previous group and he got booted out. And he says that he thinks that he can be a big asset to Alpha. Now, Beta, who immediately comes back, immediately does not trust Negan, and he's like, I think he's holding Negan up against his neck on a tree, and Negan finally then realizes, okay, I lied. It's just because this guy Beta is kind of big and scary. And think about it, he's being very sarcastic about everything.
Yeah, he is.
So he does give the truth about, okay, he was in prison, he was in jail for doing bad things.
He was a leader. He does tell Alpha that he was a leader.
He was part of the Saviors, yeah.
That the people that imprisoned him didn't like the way that he led. And in the end...
What's interesting, though, is like Beta... Negan kind of says to Alpha, okay, well, how do you get people to join your group if you don't trust people like your friend Beta here? He immediately didn't trust Negan and says, oh, he shouldn't be part of us. So Negan was kind of like asking Alpha, so how do you even recruit people if you don't trust them and just want to kill them immediately? Which is a very good point.
He also tries to court her.
he makes a lot of sexual innuendos, and Alpha actually does punch him in the face. It's Negan, which is hilarious. So that interaction I would love to see in the show.
I would love to see the beta and the alpha scenes.
I think that would be great.
I'm actually one. I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I didn't like the way that he immediately, and we'll go into this next, what he did with Alpha next. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, is like sorry, just really quick. So Negan actually does, in a way, become one of them. He helps them out with daily tasks. He gets to sleep in a sleeping bag close.
Never wears any skin though.
He never wears any skin, but he does help them out. Which kind of Alpha is seeing this and is kind of like, liking him a little bit more, seeing that he's willing to do these things, but she's not trusting him yet. And then one big thing that Alpha had to explain to him was when Negan was seeing what the Whisperers were doing to a girl, a very bad thing to a girl. Negan steps in, and he wasn't supposed to because it's the Whisperers' way of life, which is bad. But
and this is what I did forget to mention this, and this is probably one of Negan's best quality traits, is he is not one to deal with abuse of women, whether that is physically or sexually or mentally.
And we saw that in the show with Sasha when Sasha was captured.
Exactly.
He killed that savior because he was... Yeah.
There is no tolerance when it comes to the abuse of women from Negan. So that is probably one of his best traits.
Yeah.
So when he sees this at the camp in the comic, he immediately, like Jarrell said, steps in. And that is a no-no.
Beta comes in and he's not happy with that. And Alpha kind of says, you're not supposed to intervene. It's kind of our way of life. But
this is where we also see some in the comics, at least some of Alpha's weakness is she is the leader, but she has no control of her troops.
Exactly.
Not in certain aspects. Aspect.
Right, in certain aspects. So then we get into the next piece, which... we'll say it is the death of Alpha.
Negan kills Alpha. He gets her to trust him enough to get close to her, and cuts her head off.
Well, he went a little fast with that. Yes, it is. But what the interesting piece about this part is that Negan allows her, or Negan kind of sets her up to show her weakness. So her weakness is...
she cries, doesn't she?
She cries in front of him, and she's talking about how she feels so bad that she allowed Rick's group to take Lydia, and that she misses her so much. And Negan sees this and says, look, it's okay for you to cry in front of me, but you'll always have Beta to protect you. And he kind of says that Alpha is a hypocrite because she is not showing that she's a good leader because Beta is always there to protect her. Now, she tries to deflect that and say, no, I show strength, I show all of this stuff, but Negan's not seeing that, and he takes advantage. Yeah. He talks about Lucille a little bit, how he lost his wife, kind of feeding into Alpha's weakness. And then... getting him to trust her, and then even Alpha, before he kills her, says, I respect and trust you now, you are now part of the Whisperers. And then Negan's like, I don't want to be part of the Whisperers. And yes, slashes her throat, and cuts her head off.
Yeah. Now, the most important part of this is that as he is holding her head up, her cut off head, he says, would you look at you? Rick's going to be proud. Yeah. Or I can't wait to show this to Rick. I can't wait till Rick sees this. Now, the problem with that, obviously, as we know, is Rick's not in the show anymore. So we may not get a death of Alpha. I actually hope not, because that's
not in season 9.
That's where I was going back. Definitely not in season 9. But that's where I was kind of going back to. I hope that we don't see it, because I thought that in the comics, the death of Alpha was a little bit premature.
It was. It in the Whisperer arc. It was 6 issues, but it seemed fast in the storyline. The death of Alpha. Yeah, it was pretty quick, because in the comics, Alpha really wasn't... we didn't get to see like how dominant she could be, how strong she could be. And I think we're going to see that in the show.
I think so too.
But I don't know if we'll see the Negan killing Alpha aspect in the show.
This is a person that is dominant enough to have you call her Alpha.
Right.
There's a reason for that. And I think we'll see that in the show, and we did not get to see that in the comics. So,
So going off of kind of just that piece, because that leads into that kind of story arc would probably be season 10.
I think so.
Season 11. And then down the line, Negan does bring the head of Alpha to Rick and shows his, and he says he wants to fight with them, and he does. But for season 9B, I think that the story that I think they could go to is, as we know, he's going to go back to the Sanctuary and look at the Sanctuary and see nothing's there. Then I think he's probably going to go out on his own and maybe run into the Whisperers somehow. I really want him to meet Alpha. I think we could get that in season 9. In season 9B, I think we could get it. They may not go late. They may not go into depth. They might leave that open as like a cliffhanger, so to speak. Alpha, like, I don't know. I think I'll leave.
I'll leave my prediction as to how they're going to end the series for our final thoughts video. But from a Negan standpoint, I would say this. I think that, yes, we've seen scenes where he goes back to the Sanctuary. I think he sees it in an utter disarray.
It's done.
Like, it is wiped out. And there has to be something in that Negan sees that kind of changes his way of thinking. He's no longer able to be this leader. And then there's the hunt for Lucille. I think that we're going to get a hunt for Lucille. He's going to try and find Lucille. I don't know what else there is for him at this point with this story.
A lot of it, guys. Like we said, it's gonna maybe roll into season 10. We won't predict out too much, but like we said, Negan does go back to Alexandria and helps fight with the survivors and with Rick.
But he also saves Rick's life.
In the Whisperer War.
So there is a war because of the Whisperer conflict. And in that war...
Actually, it was after the Whisperer War.
Negan saves his life in the aftermath of the war.
Yeah.
That's not there. And will they mix it up? Will he possibly save Daryl's life? I don't know. I mean, there are shots in the promo pictures of him in a farmer's type outfit in broad daylight.
In Alexandria.
Like he's accepted. So for that to happen in season 9B, he would have almost had to save someone's life in 9B for him to get in that position, I would think.
Possibly, but it would have to be outside of the walls, because we're not getting the Whisperer War this season.
No, absolutely not.
We'll get it. The events from this season will lead to season 10, which we hopefully get the Whisperer War.
Assume we get the
Whisperer War. Who knows where they're going to go with it. But yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting to think like, okay, we have so many episodes left of this season. What could they do with Negan? They could go out in the future of the comics, like we said, certain pieces after the Whisperer War, because Rick doesn't exist anymore. Maybe they can grab those pieces, bring them over here, and try to make him fit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To make him to change his way and be good Negan. Not Savior Negan
anymore. But is that even enough? Like,
I don't know.
Like, that's the thing. Like, good Negan in the comics was post-Lucille.
Yes.
He loses Lucille. You're not losing Lucille until after. He loses Lucille in the war, in the Whisperer War. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, he is tied to that bat. He showed it in the jail cell when he pretty much cried over it.
Actually, they've already jumped forward. So in issue 174, where Negan is pleading for his life with Maggie,
that's with Maggie. Yeah,
they've already jumped that far. So they already took that piece from the comics, brought it all the way back, and he's already pled for his life with Maggie when he's already in the jail cell. So I forgot about that. They've already jumped forward and pulled that back.
Exactly. So with Maggie forgiving him, if Maggie can forgive him, then possibly the rest of the community can. But there's Daryl, and Daryl's a big hurdle in accepting Negan.
The fact that he's already escaped will pose a trust issue.
Yeah.
But if he does come back, like we've seen him, in some of the stills, what could he do to show them that he has changed and that, okay, yes, I escaped, but I came back?
It has to be saving Daryl's life.
It's got to be something, yeah. Maybe Michonne. Either Daryl or Michonne.
It has to be saving all of them.
Yeah, something has to happen. So maybe,
and we're not going to get that in the opening, especially the opening episode.
No. It's going to be later
because we're going to get Negan going back to the Sanctuary before anything else.
I think, we'll have some. Yeah, I don't know what they'll do, but like we said, guys, there's so much that is probably going to be cut from his story due to Rick not being there anymore. They could change it up for Daryl, but for this season only, for 9B.
I have a feeling we're going to be getting some Negan filler.
Some Negan filler, yeah.
I think all the scenes, including Negan, are going to be filler. I don't think he's going to have much to do with the overall story and arc for season 9B, unfortunately.
It'll just show his anger first. He's going to be looking for Lucille because we've seen that quick snip of him, breaking into Michonne's house, probably looking for Lucille. Going back to the sanctuary. Don't think he was going to be. I don't think he's going to be running into the Whisperers. It'd be cool if he does, but I don't think there's going to be much there for the story to really progress from it, unless
does he find evidence of Carol burning up the.
I don't know if he would know it was her though. Unless Negan does meet with Alpha, and he tells them where the hilltop is, maybe. I don't know.
I think they're going to find out just from them sneaking around and following them.
Yeah, they've been watching them. Yeah.
Weird twist: does he possibly infiltrate the fair?
Negan? No.
I would think that a lot of people would know him, so I don't think that's going to be possible.
Do you think he'll be at the fair?
No. Absolutely not.
Well, unless depending on where the fair is
it is going to be in the kingdom.
Well, I know, but is it going to be in the latter part of the season to where maybe he's good?
It's going to be in the latter part of the
again,
season.
And he's there.
And stay tuned for that. We'll get into that in our final thoughts for season 9B. But let us know, what do you think is going to happen with Negan's story? Because honestly, this one's a tough one. We haven't got too much, and the stills that we get in there make it really hard because from the stills, he's living a good life in Alexandria.
Yeah, he's looking good. Well fed, nice and clean.
Not chained up or...
No, not chained up or anything.
Yeah, so...
Let us know. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded. I mean, we can go for hours on this stuff.
Yes, I could.
But we just want to know your thoughts of where Negan could go in Season 9B. And do you think possibly some of these comic stories could come out in Season 10? But let us know your thoughts anyway.
Yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah.
If you're new to the channel, hey, subscribe. We got a lot of content coming forward, not just Walking Dead, comics, movie reactions, TV shows. We got a lot of stuff, so subscribe to the channel. If you've made it this far, give this video a like. Follow us at NocBro Nation on Facebook and Twitter.
All right, guys, I'm Jarrell.
And I'm Josh.
We're NocBro Nation.
We're out.